Hey everybody, it's Friday, March 29th. Out here in the garage, beautiful evening. Supposed to have somewhat of a rainy weekend here, but it hasn't started yet. But it's like, 65, 68 degrees, so it's pretty nice. So we've been working this week on our Plymouth Laser autocross car, and we're pretty much ready to go. Tomorrow morning is the tech safety inspection, so we're going to go to that and get that taken care of for the year, but everything's done, so we'll be taking a look at that in a minute. First up though, I've had a couple questions. Well, a question, one guy wanted to know how I got all the Subaru parts so clean. I'm kind of fortunate in a way, because where I work we have all kinds of cleaning things. We have a massive hot water wash machine. We have, the typical safety clean solvent tanks. We have a large abrasive sandblasting room that, it's a big room. We take stuff in with a forklift, and we have a turntable and so forth. We also have a smaller glass bead blast cabinet, so I have all those at my disposal I can use. But I don't really use them that much, especially for the aluminum parts like on a Subaru engine that are usually just greasy. They're not the aluminum of the cases will corrode to an extent, so we don't, a lot of times, even if they don't look that good, once you get them cleaned up and the grease off of them, you just kind of take a wire brush on a drill or something like that and kind of go over them. It makes them look pretty good. It actually shines the aluminum up and brings out the shine to them. But other than that, what I usually use here, at the house in the garage, which is not that fancy, if you will, is, I'll show you. I kind of use this right here. This is there you go. And I find if you have one of these and you have some different, stiff brushes, Scotch-Brite pads, that type of stuff, which I believe, I'm sorry, I should have had all this pulled out and be ready. Yeah, this kind of stuff here. I just have an assortment of, pads and brushes and that type of stuff. If I use that, and all I do is go over to, you can go like Walmart, Home Depot, someplace like that, and just get yourself odorless mineral spirits. I get the odorless kind because it doesn't have any smell. It's not offensive at all. You can have, some solvents, would probably actually work better than that, but, the odor of them is not pleasant. That stuff there, it's like you think you're using water. And I find my thing is, like the safety clean solvent tanks that we have at work, the safety clean solvent that you get now is actually a lot different than what we used to have years ago. It doesn't, in my opinion, it doesn't work as well. It's more, environmentally friendly, which is a good thing. Being friendly to the environment with solvents and stuff like that is all of our responsibility. But the problem is that when you actually get, trying to clean up some tough stuff, it just doesn't, I don't think it works as well as it used to. So I found that, the mineral spirits, and that sometimes make a little bit of a cocktail, you mineral spirits and kind of mad science stuff. I use some, denatured alcohol, that type of stuff, and, get it in there and let it soak and brush it. It works pretty good. And then when I'm done, I'll just take and I just, put a filter in a funnel and I'll strain it back into the bottles and, dispose of it. It's not a big deal. So I hope that answers your question. As far as like cleaning the parts and things like that, that's the way that I do it. And the thing that, once again, it's the kind of thing that any of you can do, in your garage at home, And if you do use the odorless solvent, it's not offensive to other people in the house or your pets or anything like that. So, and it's not that expensive to like I say, just buy it at the Walmart, and there you go. So that answers that question. I apologize. There was another question too, and I just can't think of it at the moment. So, whoever posted that question, please do it again. I'm not purposely not answering your questions. I just can't for the life of me off the top of my head remember what it was. So, all right. So we've been working on our laser, and we've got that ready to go. We'll take a look at that. We've got it all cleaned up, and we did get a set of wheels and tires for it. And this is what we actually did. The tire size is 245. No, I'm sorry, it's a 215/45 16. They're a 180. They're Kumos, and they're a 180 treadwear, AA traction rating, a temperature rating. They're very, very sticky, and as you can see, they have kind of a cool tread pattern to them. They're very, very grippy. They're not a friendly tire as far as driving this car on the street, especially when they're cold. Once you get some heat into them, they're not too bad. But when they're cold, they tend to railroad track every little crack and crevice and dip in the road. They follow it and stuff. So they're not really the best choice for that, but for what we want to do, they're perfect because they are a very sticky tire. We mounted those up on some 16-inch by 6.5-inch wide rims. The rims have a 38 millimeter offset, and I believe it's 5 7/8 inch back spacing. Clearance is not an issue. I clear everything just fine. The tires actually fit the rims about perfect. They're just, the edge of the rim is the edge of the tire. It's almost a perfectly straight line, so that worked out really well. And they're 3/8 of an inch shorter than the stock size overall height, and they're about 1.5 inches wider. So we're well within all of our rules on that. The only thing that they do with these on here is we got a pretty good gap between the fender well, and one of the things that we're going to need to do with this is we're going to need to replace these struts and the springs, and we'll lower it down. I don't know if we're going to do adjustable coilovers or what we're going to do, but as for right now, the wheels and tires, and as you can see, we've got our magnets for our class designation and numbers. That's pretty much shot the budget for the moment. So later on in the season, maybe we'll do some suspension changes, but for right now, we're going to run it just as it is. This is the class that we're going to run the car in, and that would be street touring front wheel drive. It kind of gives us a little bit of leeway with it doesn't have to be stock. We can make some changes. These letters and so forth in numbers are magnetic, and the reason we do that is when we run the car, when Camera Girl's driving, she is number 153. When I am driving, I am number 53. So that's why we do the magnetic thing. Works pretty well. We have the different things placed where we do, actually for a reason. For some reason in this door there's been some body work done here, and the filler is just thick enough that the little thin magnets that are on the back of those don't really adhere very well. They stick, but I'm worried about them flying off, and then we lose them and they get run over and all that bad stuff. But it cleaned up really well. We installed our Rally Armor mud flaps, front and rear. So all the little stone gritties that our sticky tires are going to pick up and throw back at the car are not going to chip up our paint, hopefully. That would just drive me crazy, and that's the one reason we're not using, the Mustang, is because of that. But like I said, it cleaned up really well. This car is actually in really nice shape for a 91. It cleans up well, shines up nice. I think it looks halfway decent. I mean, let me know your opinions, but I think the wheels actually look pretty good on it. So, and the interior of the car cleaned up real well. It wasn't that dirty, but we just gave it the once over and a shine up, so it's okay. It's an all right little car. And like I said before, with our 95 horsepower and I don't know, 100 and some odd foot-pounds of torque, we're probably not going to be, the fastest thing there, but at least hopefully we'll look good, and that'll make it okay. We'll have fun either way. The only thing we have left to do is I have to take these pieces here on the doors. You can see right along here, and it's the same on both doors. The other door is actually worse. I need to take those and paint those. I think I'll probably paint the mirrors at the same time while I'm doing that. Just give them another coat of black. Everything under the hood is pretty well taken care of. It was about not really that much different than it was in our last video, but we did do one more thing, and I'll show you that and see what you guys think of that. Is we upgraded, like this one-handed, okay. We upgraded to an 8mm solid core wire set. Hopefully improves our spark a little bit, you can see. So these things here, I mean, they're so small displacement, and the output is so slight that any little thing that we can do helps out. So we've done that, and I'll show you how we did that. It's actually, I think it's kind of a cool thing I kind of stumbled across. And we have a local warehouse here for Summit Racing. It's actually right here in Sparks, 5 minutes away. And they sell these ignition wire sets. This is the particular one that one is. Let's say it's a mag core, 8mm set. That's the part number, Summit brand. But it's a kit, and there's enough wire in there that I made a set of ignition wires for the Subaru, and then I made a set for this as well. And I think I want to say I paid $34 for the kit, so that's a pretty good value, I think. So that's kind of our progress on that project, and tomorrow we'll take it down and we'll get it inspected, and maybe we'll shoot some video. I don't know. We'll see how they feel about it there. So, some people don't like to be videoed, so, and that's one thing I always kind of stress, if you will, when you're out taking your videos. And sometimes it's kind of disappointing not to be able to get something on film, but you have to respect the wishes of the other people. that, camera girl does not like to be on film, so we just don't do it, and we have to respect those wishes. So, and other people are like that too. So always keep that in mind when you're out and about and you're doing your videos and stuff. Like I say, sometimes it's kind of disappointing, but you have to just look at the big picture when you do it. So that's pretty much all that's going on here. That's our update for tonight. Like I say, other than painting those 2 trim pieces and the mirrors, that car is basically done. I don't, unless we break something, I don't really have much of anything else to do with. The fluids are all fresh in it. I don't know if it's a real necessity. I mean, you guys, in your comments, let me know what you think. But what I've always done on these small 4-cylinder engines, when we do the kind of things that we're going to do with this, any kind of motorsports where, I mean, that little car will probably, live at 6,000 RPMs for all the runs that it goes on. And what I've got in it is I've got 20W50 Castrol in it. I've always used that in my 4 cylinders and had very good luck with it. The older ones anyways. All the newer stuff I actually use Mobil 1. But I've had good luck with that, and what I do is probably with that car about every 4th race weekend. That would be technically 8 events, because there's 2 events per weekend. The Saturday event is separate than the Sunday event, scored differently, if you will. So there's 4 run weekends is 8 run events, and I'll mileage wise it's like nothing, but I'll drain the oil and put a filter on it after that every time, and that's just kind of what I do. I don't know if it's really necessary, but it makes me feel better. So it's kind of what we do. We did change the oil on the Jeep the other night for the first time. It's got about 3,500 miles on it, and the oil filter set up on that is actually kind of cool. It's a canister oil filter. It's a little canister. It's probably about that long and about yay big around, and there's just a cover under the hood. You take the cover off and you pull the little filter out and drop the new one in, put the cover back on. Very simple. I roll underneath it, pop the plug out, and drain the crankcase. And I don't think the oil change took 10 minutes. And that was done. And I didn't get any oil all over everything, didn't get on me. It was kind of cool. But the Jeep now has Mobil 1 in it. Like I say, I use Mobil 1 in pretty much all the newer stuff that I have. It's a little bit more expensive, but I've done that for years and I've never had an issue with it. I think it's a very high quality oil. And I used to be kind of not a synthetic oil guy, but since I've been using the Mobil 1, which is full synthetic, I don't know, I kind of like it, and so I've kind of converted over to that. The only thing I do use the dinosaur oil in is the older vehicles, like the Plymouth. I put the 2050 Castrol oil in it. My old truck there with the trailer, I'll use the dinosaur Castrol oil in that too. So, but that's just what I do. Everybody has a different opinion, it seems like, on oil and changes and things like that. So that's it. I'm kind of rambling a little bit, so that's what we've got going on. And like I say, we're going to go tomorrow with that. I don't know if I will take any video or not. It's all going to depend on how they feel about it. So I guess that's it. With that being finished, we'll be bringing our Chevy truck back in, and we'll be working on that again, and that'll be good, and make some more progress on that hopefully. So that's what we got coming up. That's what's happened. So until the next time we kind of get together, as always, take it easy.